and welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the jobs podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in episode. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm getting a little choked up. We're so close to 100. If I didn't take, 5 months off at one point, I would have be well over 100. Here we are. How you doing? Sorry, it's just somebody on this CBS video that I'm very attracted to. I'll get to the thing in a second because I have to. Half of living with me is me like watching TV or watching a movie and then seeing a beautiful woman and going, "How you doing?" That's literally half of what I do. Welcome back in. Here we are. We're on a job. We're the Jobs Podcast. I'm working technically. What time is it? But here we go. Let's get into the stories. Oh, goodness gracious me. All right, this first story comes from CBS News, and you know we love CBS News. This entire episode is about CBS News. This is the person I was talking about. You can't even see the video. It's fine. These are the best places to work in 2026, according to Glassdoor. Now, I think being wary of of articles like this is very important because these jobs aren't important or viable for every single person. But typically, prior to this AI boom that we're in, bubble, as a lot of people should refer to it as, it used to be a lot of just tech jobs, but now things have changed because jobs are being basically not deleted, but they're kind of being sunsetted because they can be done in different ways, or opportunities, what is it called? Abilities, responsibilities can be stacked with other positions and everything. Anyway, most American workers are disengaged at work, meaning they're either doing the bare minimum or are resentful or unhappy. Gallup's latest State of the Global Workplace report found only 3 in 10 workers are engaged, the lowest level in a decade. Remember, quiet quitting was a whole thing that started. And let me tell you, you people are stupid. Don't. Just quit. Either have the balls to do it or don't. And I don't mean balls in the sexual sense. Don't cancel me. Tech companies are still very prevalent on their list. There's 24 spots are taken by them. They appear to be losing their luster among workers, though. The number is down from 26 spots in 2025 and 31 in 2024. This year's rankings added 19 companies to this list. And the list is, provided by Glassdoor, right? Indianapolis-based Crew Car Wash scored the top spot on Glassdoor's 100 best places to work in 2026. Again, this is just not viable for everybody. Also added to the list included Alaska Airlines at number 38, Bath & Body Works at number 80, Dutch Bros Coffee at 75, and Bank of America at 96. Here's a quick story about Bank of America. When I was my first serving position, it was in the in between freshman year of college and sophomore year of college. So that summer I worked for a couple of months at a restaurant on Canton Street in Roswell, Georgia, where I grew up, and I made great tips, at least for the first half of the summer. I made great tips for the first half of the summer, and then they got in trouble by I guess the government, and because they never paid us our $2.13 an hour for serving. So I'm going back to college, and within a couple of weeks or something like that, and they finally give us our checks. I cashed this check for, again, accumulatively between May and July, cumulatively just like 200 some odd dollars. I go to put the check in my bank account, Bank of America, and because the restaurateurs who own the restaurant were so bad at money, they did not have money in their account. The check bounced. Bank of America closed my account. They closed my savings account. They gave me all, I think it was like $1,000 or so in that account. And it dinged my credit. And I'm not, without exaggeration, I could not get a bank account for 2 years. I could not get a bank account. I couldn't get checking. I couldn't get savings. I couldn't get like any bank account, period. And I remember after that happened, like within like a couple of days it happened, my mom drove me, 19-year-old Chad, to Bank of America, and she cursed out like not a teller, but like with the manager. She's like, how the hell is this company not gonna blah blah blah? She's like, because they don't have any money in their account, so you close this account. Just like it was very funny. But also, yeah, I kept all extra money I had in a shoebox. I genuinely could not open a bank account, and it was so I will never use Bank of America ever again. I have no interest. And then my senior year, I had 5 jobs, and I needed a bank account, so I went to a regional bank, Regions Bank, and then I opened that account, and I could finally open an account again, and I put money back in, but it was crazy. Yeah, I couldn't have cards. I was paying for everything with cash. Insane. Okay, also on the list, here's the top 20 companies besides Crew Car Wash: In-N-Out Burger, Nvidia, and I wonder if Nvidia has any like stock sharing program, because they're killing the stock market. Ryan, I don't know what that is. Keller Williams, Mars, really? Mars. ServiceNow, Bain & Company, Houston Methodist, EPAM Systems, Google, interesting, Lawrence Livermore National Library, HEB, Motorola Solutions, Boston Scientific, Mathnasium, what the fuck, GE Aerospace, Progressive Insurance, RD Solutions, Intuitive. There's a lot of, I'm sure other companies are, I wonder if this is just like a ranking from Glassdoor based on how many people are, because in order to participate in Glassdoor, you have to rank and review your last company, which is insane. That's like going, in order to watch Netflix, you have to review the last 20 movies you saw. All right. This next one comes from NPR. It's written by David Folkenflik. A name I obviously have trouble talking about. After a rocky start, Bari Weiss plans cuts adds commentators at CBS News. We're going to see a shift to CBS News. And then also, I just want to toss this in here. Bari Weiss also had a meeting talking about what the changes will be. This comes from Brian Steinberg at Variety, Bari Weiss, CBS News staff. I am here to make CBS News fit for purpose in the 21st century. Companies, when they make these big acquisitions that Skydance did when they bought Paramount, we know there's going to be layoffs. When they have new bosses, we know there's going to be layoffs. At the start of the year, we know there's going to be layoffs. I mean, look at the NFL head coaches, like just coaches losing their job. NBA teams have to trade. There's a trade deadline. At the start of a year is great for new starts, but also horrible because people can lose their jobs. Now, Bari Weiss, we knew that she was going to have something to do. We knew that she was going to be changing things at CBS News for better or for worse, and unfortunately it's for worse. We're going to see new people being hired, and there's going to be people that she is the person that they want. Wait, what? We're going to see that Bari Weiss is making the hires that relate to her. To that point, 18 paid commentators on subjects ranging from national security to health and wellness are being hired as quote as part of an effort to quote widen the aperture of the stories we tell and the voices we listen to. People include H.R. McMaster, conservative who served under the first Trump administration as National Security Advisor, Rehan Salam, the president of the conservative Manhattan Institute, and the historian Niall Ferguson. Other people she wants to hire include. I'm sorry, I'm on the Variety piece and I'm looking through because I know there's names I saw that I was like, why? Why am I struggling to find? All right, here we are. Lauren Sherman, the fashion reporter for Puck. Casey Lewis, a trend researcher focused on Gen Z. And Mark Hyman, a physician who has been active in trying to reform food and agriculture policy, which lines up with what local bear eater, what's his name, RFK Jr. has been working on. These hires seem to be all over the place. People aren't coming to, and I get the changes, but people aren't coming to CBS News for trends when it comes to this latest generation or for fashion. So I don't know who she's trying to attract here, but I'm not going to CBS News, period. But I'm not going to CBS News to read that. I'm going, if I wanted to get that stuff, I would go to the New York Times. I would go to Puck. I would go to any other place but CBS News. And from what I gather from my use of CBS News, from what I see is it's from CBS Mornings, CBS News 24/7, everything that's essentially on television. Oh my goodness. This is disgusting. I'm on the CBS News website. And if you go all the way to the right, Bari Weiss's Substack is linked. The Free Press. That's ridiculous. That's like if they hired me and I just like, let's put C+ comedy up there. This is why you should not trust somebody like Bari Weiss. For her and for Tony DeCopel to come out and quote Walter Cronkite by saying Walter Cronkite had two competitors. She told staffers gathered in an all-hands meeting in either person or via digital connection, we have 2 billion, give or take. Sweetheart, people are, and yes, I said sweetheart because she's a woman. People... I appreciate this idea that everybody around us is a journalist. And to some extent, that is true. Because when you look at things that are happening, and unfortunately in Minneapolis, with all of the ICE murders and the ICE agents murdering people and things about immigration and such, the people taking the video, the protesters, the audience, they are reporting at that moment. But you have a job. Bari Weiss, Tony DeCopel, everybody else at CBS News. You have a job specifically to report the truth. Walter Cronkite, yes, he did have two competitors, but he was also working with a team of people. Superman isn't the only superhero. He has a whole Justice League with him. And if you like Marvel, then Iron Man isn't the only or Captain America is the only superhero. There's a whole team of Avengers. There's the new Avengers. There's the young Avengers. There's the Fantastic Four. There's the Defenders. I read a lot of comic books. The Watchmen were a team of real life gritty superheroes. But to think that you are at odds with everybody, I'm going to quote every influencer, every fitness influencer. It's me versus me. And in actuality, it's CBS News versus CBS News, plus ABC, NBC, CNN, Fox News, and Miss Now. And Newsmax and those other little shits. But don't worry about the audience trying to be the reporters. When you being the newsmakers, when you do your job correctly, then you won't have to worry about them. LeBron James isn't worried about me playing basketball. Like, just because I'm watching the Australian Open doesn't mean Carlos Alcaraz is like, there's some guy back in Atlanta, Georgia, who's got a real hard swing. Oh, my God. Bari wants to bring CBS News in the 21st century. Having the fucking free press linked is not going to help with that. To some extent, not to some extent, excuse me. Right now, I don't think that turning all of your gaze into what TikTok is, which is what I assume that she wants when she says 21st century. What TikTok is and following trends, I don't think a lot of that is going to be the future. Like, if there's a device, I shouldn't relate to this. Okay, look at the Peloton. The Peloton is an excellent device. It's connected to the internet. It gives you access to a lot of great classes. I talk a lot of shit about Peloton, but ultimately I love the company. I do have problems with some of the culture, a lot of the culture. Anyway, and for $60 a month, I can talk about whatever I want. Anyway, the Peloton is a great device, but it is not the only way to cycle. I can grab my iPad. I can grab my phone. I can grab not my work laptop. I can grab this computer. I can go sit in front of the TV with my bike that is not a Peloton, and I can still take Peloton classes. You can be a part of the future, but my bike is not the most technologically advanced thing, and yet it still works just as well as a Peloton does. You don't have to be the replacement. Like, TikTok is not the replacement for television, for movies, for news, because there's 10 other ways that people can get that stuff. And for CBS News, for Bari Weiss to be reliant on this is the idea, and then not even just CBS News, it's also New York Times. All their video is now vertical for some reason. Stop doing that. Netflix is going to start making vertical only shows, or vertical first, I guess. I don't know if it's going to be vertical only, but they're going to be making vertical shows on the phones, because that's how people, when you're on TikTok, that's what you're doing. You're swiping up and down. One thing I will say is she did not completely apologize, but she did acknowledge that there was a misstep when it comes to 60 Minutes and the lack of airing that one or the couple of stories that she didn't air. That was December 21st, and then that story finally aired on January 18th. Yeah, 9 days ago. During the call, she acknowledged that, quote, "There's been a lot of noise around me taking this job." Let's stop referring to it as disruption, because it is something that I don't think she understands the gravity of this, of having this position as someone who she is. And she's not even like good at it. She said she understood, quote, "why in the face of all this tumult regarding just her rocky couple of months so far, you might feel uncertain or skeptical about me or what I'm aiming to do here. I'm not going to stand up here today and ask you for your trust. I'm going to earn it, just like we have to do with our viewers." Well, then, if anything, that would just be doing the job and doing it correctly, and not cutting stories, and just having trust that the reporters are doing their jobs correctly, and that 60 Minutes will put out the right story, and that Tony DeCopel will report the right news, instead of hosting half an episode, 14 minutes of a CBS evening news of a nationally broadcast program featuring an interview with Donald J. Trump. Weiss said she would press to update internal processes. Yeah, whatever. Executive, she told staffers they needed to start, quote, looking honestly at ourselves. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is like, that's some bullshit that some Instagram TikTok person would say. We're not producing a product that enough people want. Let's not call it a product. Let's call it news. Let's call it what it is. You're writing news and you're doing news stories, video stories. That's it. Let's not call it content. Let's not do this. Let's not do that. Just do what it is supposed to be. We can blame demographics or technology or fractured attention spans or news avoidance, but these are all copes. Even if somebody avoids news, they're still going to see references. Like if the only place, God forbid, if the only place you get your news is from The Daily Show or other late night shows in the monologue or whatever, they're still going to see the lower thirds, the chyrons, all that stuff from CBS and CNN and Fox and the rest. That's all. She restated the mantra that she's used since her arrival at CBS News, that mainstream media is no longer trusted, and stressed that CBS News has to be a place where viewers can come to hear all sides of the debate, even if doing so made them uncomfortable. So far, you're only doing the right side of that, though. Independent Americans, she said, quote, want to equip themselves with all the facts, she said, and are curious to hear what is actually going on, even if it offends their sensibilities. I think she's in a little bit, I'm going to take that as that she's referring to people like Ken Bone, but again, those aren't really the people that you kind of want to win over. Anyway, I have so many issues with Bari Weiss. It seems to me that she is acknowledging what the issues are, but I don't know if she's exactly going to take in that she's a part of that problem. We complain about people who get jobs that don't earn them, and she sure as shit didn't earn hers. And I'll go to my grave saying that. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to celebrities. A lot of times we have a new interview coming out under the Constitutional's podcast feed. That's the Entertainment Business News Show. And Late Night Lately is the late night show. If you want to watch a video version of those shows and this one, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. You can also see a video version of the interviews under the interviews. So follow us on social media, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at cpluscomedy. Me on those platforms at Chad Black White, cpluscomedy.com. Go see it. Okay, thanks. Bye.